you a prepper or a hoarder? Hey everyone, welcome back to Homestead Corner. Today I thought we'd talk about prepping and hoarding. I have been accused, and I know a lot of you have over the years, of being a hoarder. Prepping is definitely not hoarding. People may look at it the same, but there are some differences. Being prepared for emergencies is just good common sense to me. I really, we do not live in a perfect world. We live in the real world. Stuff happens all the time, whether it is crazy weather scenarios. And I'd like to take this opportunity to send, love and light down to Florida. Oh my goodness. And everywhere that is being affected by these crazy weather things. This stuff just, it happens. And being prepared for it is wonderful. I have family that lives down in Florida, and one of my uncles actually is still without a home. His home was completely destroyed during Ian, so his apartment, so he is staying with family until he can get another place, and it could be a good long time. And that just happened not too long ago, and now this new storm Nicole has wreaked havoc again in different places. So, sending love to all of you guys down there in Florida that have been affected. This is just awful. But we need to be prepared for these things, whether it's different kinds of weather or job loss, which there's a lot of job loss going on recently, and we need to be looking into that, if our jobs are safe, if we're going to be able to provide for our families. Also, sickness happens. You could be without a work. It can, really knock you down, and you could be sick for a couple days. You could be sick for months. We just don't know. These are things that if we are preparing properly, we can help our families get through these crazy situations. Also, the economy is rocky. We know this. We know all the problems that are going on. There could be a war at any moment. We don't know. So it's so good to be prepared for this. And to me, really, it is just common sense. There is a fine line between prepping and hoarding. And I think it's important that we all make sure that we're not crossing that line. And it can be very easy to do if you're not staying focused on your preparedness goals and what you are looking to accomplish. I find lists are my best friend. I love them, and it helps me stay focused on what I need and what I need to do and where I'm going to focus my energy. So I think lists are one of those things that can really be helpful for people. I forget stuff. I get excited about things. I'll see something, I'm like, woo! But I need to stay focused. And having those lists of things that are important to making sure we're prepared for different events, whether we're missing something, we need more of it, or whatever it is, having those lists can be super duper helpful for you and your family. Keeping your preps organized is another great way to keep track of what you have. Being able to know what you have will help you on where you need to work on. And we really want to look at that, because if we're not paying attention to what we have, that's when we start overstocking stuff, getting more of something than we need, and that's where waste comes in. And having things that you don't need is not a good thing. Having too much of something can be a problem, especially if it's in your food pantry. You've got too much of one item, you can't eat it all, or you're not going to eat it before it goes bad. You've got all that waste happening, and that is no good at all. You want to be able to focus on it and make sure that you have a decent amount, but not really any overload of any type of item, whether it's food or emergency supplies or anything really. Prepping is being prepared for emergencies, whether that's food storage, emergency supplies, protection, whatever it is that you are prepping for. Hoarding, on the other hand, is just hanging on to stuff that you don't need or you're not going to use or may not be useful at all. I talk quite a bit about food rotation in your pantry, and I think it is really important to make sure you're putting that new stuff in the back and eating up your old stuff first. That way you can store a lot more food in your pantry, and you don't have to worry about it going bad. Really, you can have a couple of years of canned goods that are not going to go bad, because if you're just rotating them through and putting that new stuff in the back and then eating up the old stuff first, every time you're going to be able to eat that food up before it expires, and you're not going to have to worry about it. Foods are going to last way longer than that best by date, but making sure that you're getting to them before there's a problem is important. And I think food rotation is a really huge thing when you're stocking a prepper pantry. Making sure that food is all getting used, none of it is going to waste, all of it gets used in one way or another. And I may have to eat rice 4 times in a week to make sure I'm getting through that rice stock, but you know, I can do it a billion different ways with spices. And with your emergency supplies, protection, things like that, those are things that you should be using. You do not want to buy them and just bring them home and chuck them in the closet or put them into some kind of storage. You want to make sure that these items are going to work for you. Just because someone else uses a certain thing doesn't mean it's going to work for you. If you decide that you are going to cook your food in an emergency with candles, and so you stock up on candles and you just chuck them in the closet, try cooking that food. Practice with your stuff. I know these things can be expensive to use, but it's important that you know how to use them. When that emergency happens, if you think just one candle is going to cook your food, it may not be enough. Practice with it. Do you need 1 candle, 4 candles? Do you have a heat safe spot? All of those types of things come into play in an emergency, and you want to make sure that you're prepared for that emergency when it happens. So using a little bit of the stuff that you buy is important, and making sure that you can use it. It's easy when an emergency happens. You want it to just be easy as possible. You don't want to have to, if you have never used a ferro rod and striker, you do not want to have to learn how to use it when you need it. You want to learn that way before. That is not as easy as it looks. It takes time to really get that down, those type of things. And you know, like with your protection, if you decide that you're going to go out and buy a gun and a bunch of ammo and stash it in the safe and never use it, you need to get out there and practice with that. Ammo is expensive to replace, but your safety is worth more than a couple of bucks that it's going to cost to replace it. Taking a safety course, knowing how to use it, how to protect yourself, your family, and your home is the most important thing. No amount of money is worth risking that, in my opinion. So for all the naysayers out there, I say, whatever. It's just, we as preppers, we do stock up on things, but those are things that we are going to use. In an emergency, we're going to use them. Until that emergency, we're going to learn how to use new products that we get. Those things are super important. Being able to use those gas heaters and things like that, making sure that you have all the safety precautions in place, so when you do have to use it, you know that it's safe and it's going to work for your family. So I say, stack it to the rafters, all the stuff that you use, any emergency supplies that you need, definitely. Hoarding is useless stuff. Prepping will save your life. And that's it for today. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.